Hello and welcome to this week's Devil the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Paxton and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining me the show this week, he's done more miles behind the wheel of his van than Lewis Hamilton. If he was under a boiler or in Costa Coffee drinking lattes or on air talking Salford Red Devils, then he's lost and it's time to send out the flying monkeys. It's your friend and mine, it's Paul Whiteside. How you been, Paul?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you, Rob. Yeah, I'm good. Nice introduction, that. Yeah, busy at work and whatever, and looking forward to the weekend though. With there being no match for Salford, it's a bit easy this week. You know, I've not had to write a preview or do loads of bits and pieces, so taking it a bit easier, getting one ready for the Wakefield game. I'm trying to stay one step ahead, if you like, but yeah, looking forward to. There's a couple of matches at weekend, and they're in the international games and whatever. I'll keep up to speed, but no, other than that, I'm doing okay. Thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I've had me little girls had chicken pox, so we've had a few days. You know what I mean? When they all come out, you get a bit scratchy, don't they, and get a bit agitated. And then I had a leak in my shower, which I didn't really know about until I opened the door sort of one day. It was like Jumanji, you know, like a big water sort of wave came flying out of the bathroom at me. So luckily, plumber came in and fixed it for me, which is great. Rumour has it you've had a lucky break this week. Is that true?
Regarding
chiropractor.
Oh yeah. I went to see a chiropractor in Salford on one that my wife goes to. I went to see him on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday night? Wednesday night after work, and yeah, I've been getting a bit of jip on the left hand side of me. I've had problems with my back before. You remember my back from a few years ago, don't you? I was at Wigan and it took us about an hour to walk back to the car. But no, that was my lower back. But I've been getting a bit in my shoulder. So Ellen said, "Oh, just try a chiropractor." I never like going to the doctors or dentist or anybody like that. I just like to just struggle on. But I thought, well, go on, I'll give it a try. And he laid me down the other night on this bloody bed and said, "I'm gonna twist your neck, just relax." And I've never heard anything like it. I mean, I crack my fingers because I get stiff fingers, and I'm always cracking my fingers, you know, giving it that. But he got my neck and it absolutely crunched both sides. But it felt a lot better. Apparently, I had a bit of a spasm up here and just wear and tear basically. But feels a lot better, so I'm doing okay. I can move my head. I've still got to do my neck exercise because I can only move my head 45 degrees that way apparently. But you know, when it was hurting the other week, I was driving, and as I was driving, you only have to like look what's coming. I had sort of lean forward like that to see. People thought I was like an old man, but no, I'm in a bit. I'm doing all right now. I'm doing a bit better. I think it's just wear and tear and age, innit? I mean, I remember my dad used to have his back done and stuff like that. When you're younger, you sort of think, God, that won't be me. But as you start to approach sort of 30s and approach 40, you start getting these little niggles in life, don't you? You're not as young as you used to be. Like,
not wrong. So basically, when you're turning sort of left now to climb out the window to make sure no one's coming, is that basically it?
Yeah, I look like I've got a neck brace on, like all that. But no, I'm better now. I am doing better. I'm not like a barn owl yet that can turn its head right round, but I'm getting there.
That's the dream. That's the dream. If you can get you to turn your head all the way around, we'll all go.
90 degrees would do. If I could just look to my shoulder, that'd do me.
So we'll see what's coming on in the show tonight, Paul. We'll look back at all the games for all our teams this week. We'll have a look at all the big news coming out of the club. We've got Whiteside's World of Rugby League, and then we'll preview the two games that we've got coming up this weekend. So we'll start with the Wigan defeat. So Salford were defeated against Wigan at the AJ Bell. They lost 30 points to 12, Paul. Wigan, I thought, were the better side throughout. I thought, you know, it showed why they're a champions team. We struggled to make an impression to the last sort of 15 minutes. But it is Wigan and we're a bit injury ravaged.
Yeah, I thought we made a bit of a fist of it in the first half, but you always felt Wigan had another gear to step up. And for me, in that first half, they looked like they were sort of just toying with us a bit, really. And the question I was sort of asking at half time is, if they do go up a gear, can we live with them? And I wasn't sure whether we would. And obviously, then they stepped on the gas and in the second half and coming down the edge with Marsh. They actually swapped wingers. I think they swapped Marshall over. He was on the other side, wasn't he, in the first half, and that was a good move by Matty Peake, because everything came down that side. Then Bevan, French, Marshall, were outstanding, really. French got a hat-trick, and the clean, crisp sort of ball movement from them. Every pass stuck, and it was really measured. It was like training ground stuff what they were playing, and we scored from a set scrub. They were devastating. They really were. I mean, you can say Salford were a bit off the pace in that second half, but I think sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say they played really well. They took the chances. I don't think there was a lack of effort from Salford. I think you've just got to say you were beaten by the better team. And, for Wigan, for me, looked the real deal. They did in the cup final. They came back really well against a very solid Huddersfield team. And they've come back and won 2 games since the final, away from home against us and Cass. So I think they've got their sights set on into the Old Trafford Grand Final, haven't they? And putting a few wrongs right against St Helens. They've been living in St Helens' shadow for the last few years. And at the moment now they're playing some good rugby and they look like they can match them. So, but as far as we're concerned, it was, first half of again, we couldn't really get out of our own half. We didn't really have much attacking threats until around about the half an hour mark. And again, you'll have the stats for me, and I'm pretty sure the meters weren't as perhaps they should be. Again, we found it hard to make yards, and I thought Wigan's defence was good though. I think we had a few chances, particularly in the second half. They defended really, really well. So, beaten by the better side, but just a bit concerned about our last tackle plays and things like that. So there's a lot to work on, I think.
Yeah, it was obviously they tried, and we can't sort of fault the effort. And Wigan, had a good side. They were 30-0 up, weren't they, before we actually got a sort of a foothold in the game. But tries from Dion Cross and Callum Watkins at the end was good. Showed that we go to the end, and that's the important aspect, really. I think, Paul, going forward, that this team will sort of try to lure.
Yeah, they didn't give up. There's no doubt about that. They didn't give up, and they scored 2 well-worked tries at the end. Briley's kick through, I think it was for Cross, and then the kick through for Callum Watkins. Callum scoring again. He scored at Hull KR. He scored at Hull KR, I think, the week before, didn't he? So, he's chipped in with a couple of tries this season. No, the players didn't give up. I think we just looked a bit iffy on attack at times, didn't we? And I thought the kicking game, we kicked to Wigan, really, and let them off the hook. I thought we didn't really have them on the back foot at all, kicking game wise. I think every time it was an easy kick for them to take, and where they were coming back at charging it as a momentum. I would have liked us to change things round a bit. I think Mark Sneyd did change his kick once in the second half. He banged the ball with a bit more venom behind it. I think we got a scrum out of that. Oh, we got the ball back anyway. So sometimes you've just got to vary things, haven't you, and try different things. But no, well beaten, and Wigan were very well drilled. I thought they were fantastic with the ball, moved it really, really well, and some of their forwards, were excellent, really. Partington, Turnley and Byrne, they're good shouts to be in that England team. Only young players, but they stood up and were counted. Sam Powell as well, I think, is a massive plus for Wigan when he's in their team. He gives them that real good goal forward round the ruck, and he's quick as well. And we couldn't really deal with him in that second half. They got a bit of a roll on. Yep,
we spoke to Paul Rowley, Harvey Livett, Sam Luckey and Alex Gerrard for the game, and this is what you have to say.
Hi, Sam Luckey joins me, mouthful of sandwiches. How are you doing, mate? Good to be back in the side. You've missed a few games, good to be back today.
Yeah, mate, absolutely loved it. Obviously, I had COVID and stuff, and I was out for a few weeks, and then had a game for the reserves. My lungs were on fire after the first 5 minutes, but it was good, and then got the call up again to play, so I love putting that Salford shirt on every week.
Are you fixed up for next season yet, or are you still out of contract, or has anything been sorted yet?
No, nothing's been sorted yet. I'm out of contract at the end of this year, so I'd love to stay and everything. I'm chatting to Bleezy, sort something out, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Do you feel like that's extra pressure on yourself to perform well and impress Paul Rowley?
Yeah, I mean, even if I was signed up, that's that's a standard I set myself. So regardless if I'm in contract or out of contract, I'll still try my best for the team. But I think pressure-wise, you want to do well. So
How tough was it out there today? Wigan, good side, just won the Challenge Cup. They're showing no signs of stopping at the moment, are they?
No, I mean, you'd expect after they won the Challenge Cup to have a couple of weeks off, but they come out firing, and I think the first half we matched them. I thought our D was pretty good, but it just shows what a quality side they are in the end. They are relentless. They never stop, and they keep the speed of the game high.
You come back into the side at the right time, though. I know it's Magic Weekend's coming up soon. You're desperate to play in that game, aren't you? You're going to get a try soon as well. I keep saying you're going to score a try. You need to get a try at Magic Weekend.
Say me prayers. Hopefully, nothing will beat that last year when I played. So fingers crossed I get picked and time it just right there.
Let's hope you can keep fit. No more COVID. Don't be going breathing on people. And keep yourself fit and keep yourself in shape, mate.
I'll just lock myself away in my room. That's it.
That's the way to do. Thanks very much for coming and speaking to us, Sam. Tough night tonight, and best luck next week. Mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks a lot, bud.
I'm joined by Harvey Livett. Defeat tonight. How do you feel?
Yeah, disappointing. Going from last week when we got a bit of a pumping, but we were on tonight. First half, we were looking good, 6-0. But then second half, we just didn't turn up, and I think our attack let us down a bit. We need to execute a lot, but yeah, it didn't happen for us tonight.
Yeah, second half, obviously, Wigan came, scored 4 tries in something like 15 minutes. How does that feel like being a player on the other side of that?
Yeah, it's tough, but you've got to go again, haven't you? We try after try, and but we go again. I know we've got a bit of a week off now, and then we go again after that.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, a week off. Was it a week of training, or we could just reset and go again?
Yeah, we're in for a few days. We got, I think, about 4 days in, and then we'll get a bit of a rest, and then, like you say, we go again the week after them.
Brilliant. Thanks for talking to me.
Alex Gerrard joins me. A tough game that tonight, mate. What's your assessment of that?
Tough one, to be fair, because all the boys worked really hard. I think when we were good, and when we were bad, we were really bad. I don't think there was any middle ground. You can't fault the lads' effort, but we've definitely got a few areas that we need to improve on for our next game.
Tough going forward. You made a nice pass, though, sending Tyler Dupree through there. I mean, you're not known for your stand-off abilities, but that was a nice ball you got out there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, all the front rows try and work well together and try and, give the little tips. And like I say, we've got a really good group of lads here, mate. All the middles and that, we all work really hard together, and we're still learning each other's traits and learning how each other plays. But I think you can tell in little things like that. But hopefully as a collective, we can keep improving, and we can start to get on the right side of these games.
It looked like he was in that game, 6-0 at half time. Wigan just seemed to step up a gear in that second half. Was it hard to stay with him there? The pace they seemed to have on that right edge, it was hard to deal with.
Wigan are a great side, and they're clinical, and I don't think we were clinical tonight. And I think Wigan just were more clinical than us, to be honest with you. They fully deserve the win, and like I say, I don't think you can fault our lads' efforts. We're just off in key areas, and in big games like these, it makes a big difference.
You on a personal note, you signed a new contract with Salford. You're looking forward to staying. You seem to have settled in really well this season.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time here. Rose is great. Obviously, I know Kurt Haggerty. Like I say, we've got a really good group of lads here. Everyone wants to work really hard for each other. We've got the foundation. We just need to try and put it all together now.
Was it an easy decision for you to stay with Salford? Did you want that? Did you want to stay here?
Yeah, 100%. Didn't look anywhere else, to be honest with you. When they came to me, I like I say, really enjoyed my time here, so it was a no-brainer for me.
Well done. Unlucky tonight, Alex, but thanks very much for speaking to us.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Coach's corner.
You said the attack was a bit clunky. Could you put your finger on why, do you think?
It just happens. I think obviously credit to Wigan's defence, but regardless of defence, we've met Wigan now. This is our 3rd time, and so we knew what to expect there. Like I said, we tried to thread a needle instead of being a little bit more direct and just pulling the wrong options at time. But that happens in sport, it happens in rugby. So you like to think you'd learn, but I don't think they're actually lessons we need to learn. I think it was just one of them days where attack didn't happen for us in most cases tonight.
Yeah, the first half you were solid in the game. That's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an 80-minute game, though, isn't it? So, like I say, we went toe-to-toe with the best team in the league, and probably a reflection of where we're at and where they're at, if I'm being honest. So we'd like to get to where they're at, and that's why we keep working on it.
Yeah, obviously week off next week. Obviously opportunity to build, and a big second half of the season. Yeah,
as always, there's not, to us it's keeping people fit. So we'll see what damage tonight's done to us. But I think we're running with about 19 fit players at the minute. So none due back. We just go back to work. That's what it is. And you'll not hear any excuses or anything back from my group. We've got a good group, and we'll just keep working hard.
Obviously, like I say, no players coming back, no sign of players coming in. Kind of a tough situation you're in.
I think that's the way, isn't it? In Salford, so it's what it is.
So obviously, all the boys disappointed, and they obviously kind of sort of knew where it all went wrong.
Yeah, like we were saying when we had a chat after the game, I don't think there was a lack of effort in there from the players, and it's difficult sometimes, isn't it? Supporters will whinge and moan about it, and with every right to, but it is hard trying to take positives out of something. But the players, you can't fault their effort, and you've just got to try and get up to that level that Wigan are at. And it's difficult because they've got a really good side. They've got some big players in there, world-class players across the pitch. I think the difference as well is pace. I think they had an awful lot of pace, particularly in the forwards as well. You've got that Liam Farrell running out wide, and he's like having a centre there in the second row. I think he played quite a bit in the 3/4 in that second half, and he's such a skillful player. And then you've got the likes of Bevan French, Liam Marshall, Field as well, Jai Field. Top-notch players, these, aren't they? And these are going to be featuring in that World Cup, and it's hard for us to sort of compete. I mean, we've still got quite a few players missing in the pack, haven't we? Some big men that are missing, and I think we're missing those guys at the moment. That goal forward, you can tell by the meters made, we're struggling in the pack, aren't we, at times?
Yeah, but obviously, we can only go with what we've got, Paul, haven't we? And obviously, right. Paul Rowley, he knows that there's no one coming in immediately, and obviously there's no one coming back immediately, so he's got to go with what he's got, and it's difficult. Obviously, pressure will build the more sort of Toulouse win, and sort of the gap gets closer. But for me, I think we've got enough not to be looking backwards, looking forwards to possible playoffs for me. But it will be a couple of tough weeks until we do get either a couple of people back, or we find a bit of an upturn in form and string a few wins together.
Yeah, I won't worry too much. I mean, I know Wakefield won on Sunday, didn't they? They had a good win, and I don't think Wakefield will go down because they got promoted in 1998 and they've never been down since, because they always seem to find a way out of it. They win home games. They're very difficult to beat at Bellevue. I mean, we found that we got beat there this season, and they turned Warrington over, and they're a tough side to play against. So, and then I look at Toulouse, and they've got 4 points. To overtake us now, we've got 10. They've got to win 4 games without us winning another game, and they've only won 2 all season. So I'd say it'd be difficult for them, but they've got a lot of home games coming up. So you never say never. So I won't put my mortgage on it, but we've just got to keep. We've not got to look at that. We've just got to concentrate on ourselves. There's no point in worrying about what other teams are doing, because we've got plenty of home games coming up that we can win. And winnable matches. So, and I don't like targeting games either. I think you've got to go into every game and give it your best shot. I mean, you go back a few weeks ago, we nearly won at St Helens with a scratch team, really. So I don't think you can sort of put your eggs in one basket and say, oh, we'll pile everything onto this Wakefield game, and then you lose that game, and the pressure builds even more. You've just got to attack each game as it comes along, really. So yeah, I mean, a few people have said to me, Paul Rowley, it's just the same thing every week in his press conferences and this, that, and the other. But it's a very difficult situation that he's in at the moment. What do you say? Do you come out and slag your players off? I don't think you do that in public. I think you've got to try and be positive. And there's no use coming out shouting and bawling about the players in the Wigan game, because the effort was there. You've just lost to a better side, really. I don't think you could question that. So when you're low on numbers, you've just got to keep plodding on, haven't you, and keep going until the tide turns, like you said. And it did do a few weeks ago. We got the win against Cass, we got the win against Leeds, and keep working, and those results will come again. You just got to keep working away until you get bodies back, and then you're usually okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think when you start criticising players in public, and you've lost the changing room at that point for me.
Definitely.
So I think I think he's a bit of a wily old fox, isn't he, Paul Rowley? And he knows that, and I think obviously the coaches that we've sort of experienced in the last sort of 7 years at Salford, he's the most experienced and the most sort of. He knows out what the game is. He's played this game before, and I think the coaches we've had before have been with us learning the game. So I think he approaches it in a different way than all the other coaches before him have.
Yeah, I think so. Paul Rowley's been around rugby league since he left school, hasn't he? He's never done anything else. He's played rugby league. He's coached rugby league. He's been around the top level. He's been around the leagues. He's a very experienced, player and coach, very experienced rugby league person. Knows the game inside out. And his dad was a good player as well, Alan Rowley. So rugby league's in his blood. It's in his family. So that's all you know. And I think he did a bit of plumbing. I think when he left school, didn't he? I think Phil Dunning had a chat with him about that one of Supporters Trust. I think he did a bit of pipe fitting or something like that, but didn't like it. He wasn't very good at it, and he's been in rugby league ever since. So yeah, and you're right. He is. In the press conference, it's difficult because you get asked the same questions every week, don't you? Especially by certain sections of the media or after a story, and sometimes they sniff a bit of blood, don't they? If you're an away journalist or whatever, and you think the pressure's on, and he's bound to defend his players, and he's every right to, because like you said, once you start attacking players, and you have lost it really. Then you've got to keep positive, haven't you? It's a long season. As soon as you start with the negatives, it's only going to breed onto your players then, and that's how you sort of lose dressing rooms. So I think from what I've heard and the players who speak to us, they're fully behind Paul Rowley. They buy into what he says. They all say it's a great group, it's a great atmosphere, and the players all seem happy. So, I think the team spirit and everything's there. It's just you just got to keep working to get the results.
Yeah. Looking at the stats, Paul, Alex Gerrard, 26 tackles, Tyra Dupree, 28 tackles, Callum Watkins, 26 tackles, Andy Ackers, 36 tackles, Harvey Livett, 25 tackles, and Elijah Taylor, 25 tackles. So forwards going through a lot of work there.
Yeah, and I think special mention to Tyler Dupree. I was impressed with him at Wilkinson and Bates the week before. He got sin bin for absolutely nothing, which was a bit of a poor decision, I thought, and felt a bit sorry for him. But, as a youngster trying to make his way in the side, I thought against Wigan there in a big pack, I thought he really stood up and was counted in that game. He was difficult to put down. He took the ball in really well, did his job, and worked really well with the tackles as well. And he made a brilliant break when Alex Gerrard put him through. Yeah, it was a lovely pass from Gerrard, that, and unlucky that. So yeah, I think Tyler's come in and he's nailed down a spot now in the team, hasn't he? And he's going to be difficult to push out. So I'm very, very pleased for him. I think he's working hard, and that's it's always good to see that with a good young player.
Yeah, I think it was 18-0 when they made that break, and then Wigan went over the other end and scored, didn't he? And it shows that it's a 12-point swing that.
Yeah, and like at 6-0 at half time, they scored a try not long after the break as well, didn't they? From I think that was on the back of a Salford mistake. And sometimes you do get those swings in matches, don't they? It takes the momentum away. We were talking about, I think I spoke to you about it, and a few other people asked me as well about it, the game the week before when we played Wilkinson Rovers away. And if Costello, if Cross and CEO had have scored that try rather than overplaying it, we'd have been 6-0 up there. Crowd gets behind you, it could be a totally different game. You cough that chance up and then the game goes the other way, and that can happen sometimes in rugby league. I'm a big believer in that momentum swings and things like that. If something had happened there, would it have been a different result? Not always the case, is it? Sometimes you get absolutely battered, don't you? But I think in that game against Wigan, I think perhaps it could have been a bit close if we'd took a couple of chances. But I think Wigan always sort of had us at arm's length, didn't they? And they had that pace, and you've only got to watch the highlights back and just look how clinical they were and the finishing abilities of the three-quarter line that they've got. It's absolutely outstanding. Bevan French is, if you listen to Bevan French's interview after the game, he said he's not playing that well, and then they asked Matty Pete about that, and he said, well, he said there's a few things we can work on. And I think that just shows you a class club. And a club that have got world-class players, because they're always expecting more and more and more. Nothing's ever right, is it, for them? So I thought it was quite frightening. I thought I played pretty well, Bevan French. But if he can play better than that, then I hope we're not playing him again for a while.
Top meter makers, Paul, Tyra Dupree, 114, Callum Watkins, 110, Brodie Croft, 142, and Elijah Taylor, 97. So 4 in and around 100, which is not too bad.
Yeah, Brodie Croft there, he got some meters there. You just mentioned him quite a few, and I thought he worked really hard in the game again. He had to do a lot of work and probably not getting the rewards at the moment. He put an awful lot of effort into that game, and it was difficult. Wigan's defence was good. I thought they numbered up on Brodie Croft every time he got the ball. They was there and punishing him. So they knew what sort of a threat he was, particularly after his game against them in the league at Wigan. So Tyler as well, Tyler Dupree, I thought he did really well. He ran the ball in hard all night, and to me, that's all you want off a forward. You want your forwards to take that ball and just cart that ball in as hard as you can. If you can get a couple of forwards who just run like an express train, that's what you want you pack to do. Nothing fancy. I think with Tyler as well, he's got a nice offload. He's always looking to get the ball out, turning in the tackle, trying to offload it. And if you're a forward with that to your game as well, it just gives you another string to your bow, because you can run the ball and make the meters, but if you're getting that offload, you're just putting the defence into a bit of doubt as well. So, and as I mentioned before, he's only a youngster, is Tyler, and forwards don't always sort of progress and mature until they're a bit older, and he's got that ability now, and he's definitely got something, and the coaching staff have seen that. That's why we brought him in. So yeah, pleased for him.
Yeah. Big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Stuart Smart, poor in attack. Dupree, KDL, 80-minute performance. Silent Assassin Croft was their man of the match. Colin Wilson, mixed performance. Dupree. Mark, very inconsistent. Show Watkins / Dupree and Stephen Doyle clueless in attack. I think he's probably right there. Paul Rowley spoke about it in the press conference about how we struggled. But like you say, Wigan are a good side, and we can just chalk that one down for a bad day.
Yeah, we did have a lot of ball though. I think if you watch the game back, we didn't have loads of possession in their sort of territory, and a lot of that is to do with your pack getting you down the other end of the pitch. Wigan are a good side. They played a percentages game, don't they? And they attack well. And yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, if I knew all the answers, I wouldn't be fixing boilers for a living. I'd be a rugby league coach, and it's difficult to come up with the answers sometimes. And Wigan are a good side, and you were beaten by the better side, and yeah, it was disappointing. It was disappointing to lose, and I think some of the supporters were frustrated, weren't they, when we were 30 points to nil down. But that just shows you the quality of Wigan. Yeah, there's things in our game that need to be better. You can't just come on here, and I have never come on here and say, oh yeah, Wigan were brilliant. That's it. I think there's always two sides to a story. Yeah, Wigan were good, but there's things we can do better as well. We were poor in certain areas, so and I'm sure Paul Rowley will be saying that. He won't just be going into training saying, oh wow, Wigan were absolutely awesome. We were great, because we weren't. He knows that, and there's things we definitely need to work on.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Salford Red Devils ladies. They were victorious last week. They beat Stanningley 22 points to 16. Paul, great result for Chris Bates ladies.
Just the response we wanted. We said that, didn't we? There'd be a response, and after a defeat, and there's no team in the world that's ever. Well, I don't think there is. That's ever gone through forever and never lost a game, is there? So there might be. Someone might prove me wrong, but sometimes it's what you need, and we said that you don't need the defeat, but it makes you focus a bit more. And I think that's what's probably happened with the ladies. Great for them to get back on the arse, in top of the table in the championship, doing well in the cup as well. And that's just the result they needed, just the response that they needed as well. So a great result.
Yeah. Tries from Alex Simpson, Steph Gray, Lucy McKeown, Casey Naylor, Demi Jones kicked 2, 4, 5 goals, I think. So yeah, lots of attack, lots of great tries. Did you see the tries on Twitter, Paul?
I haven't seen the tries yet, Rob. No, sorry, I've not done my homework. I'm sorry, I apologise.
I've seen the tries on Twitter, and the Steph Gray try, it was a wonder ball. I think it was from Louise Fellingham, fed Steph Gray to score. London, like a looping pass, and Steph Gray just found the outside and scored. Casey Naylor, the try that sort of won them the game, was a bit like King Bunny Ayawa's try against Castleford, the first game of the season, where he was just hiding behind the ruck and then just sort of like sprung into action and took 3 Castleford players with him. Casey was a little bit different. I think she saw the numbers and kind of sort of bulldozed over. No one was going to stop her from 5 meters out. Great try. And it's sort of big moments in games where it was tight, and to put that play on, shows the character for me.
I'm just imagining this pass now from Louise Fellingham. It sounds a bit like the Mark Flanagan pass in the £1 million game, a Super Bowl. So I think with Louise as well. I think she's one of the unsung heroes of the team, isn't she? That holds it together, one of the experienced ones, and that's what that side's got. It's got some youth and experience, a nice blend in there, hasn't it? And some people who can score the tries, people who can make the tries, and people who do all the hard work as well. And I think every team needs that. So yeah, I'll be on there. I'll look at these tries afterwards. I like a good try.
Yeah,
I'll be looking at that.
Yeah, our ladies still top of the table with 8 points. Warrington Lunars are second with 6 points, and Alton are third with 6 points. Alton have 2 games in hand over us, and Warrington have 1. So that is very tight at the top, even though obviously we're playing some really good rugby. It's going to be an really exciting few weeks and months for these ladies, and with these 2 teams chasing them.
Yeah, well, it's all right having games in hand sometimes, but you've got to win them. So I think sometimes it's a 50-50, isn't it? Would you rather have points in the bag or be chasing something? So yeah, you can only beat who's in front of you. And there's plenty of games left, isn't there? We only lost 1 game. So, I'm presuming we've got to play Alton and Warrington again, haven't we? Yep. So that's going to be when the test is. It's all right them having games in hand, but if you can beat them and turn them over when you play them, then it's job done. So for the ladies, you've just got to keep going now and let the other sides worry about them. You've just got to concentrate on your own game and get the victories. Don't be worrying about what other teams have got to do.
I think on the 1st July, Warrington play Alton at home, and then Alton play Warrington at home on the 17th of July. So that's 2 sort of games back to back pretty quick, which might sort of go a long way to show where the league standings will finish.
Well, yeah, and if Salford ladies can win their games, their respective games on those days, that just puts you that bit more daylight in front, doesn't it? And let those other two battle it out, and hopefully they'll draw their 2 games, and then we'll be miles in front. But no, I'm confident in what we've seen so far, and there's a part of it that says, well, it's our first season, and it doesn't really matter if we get overtaken. But I think you sort of put that part of that to one side now, because I think there's an air of expectancy now. It's all right saying it's first season, but I think once you're the top of the table and you get into cup finals, you want to win them, don't you? So you don't want to be just, we're doing all right, it's our first season. You want to win it now, don't you? You've done that well. So I'm sure the ladies have got that mentality as well.
Yeah, we speak to Chris Bates, don't we? We see the ladies on Twitter and Instagram and that they are switched on. I don't think they're here for half measures. The position they're in now, they're going to go and win this thing. And like you said, first season, and at the beginning we were thinking, we'll see how it goes. But from what we've seen, Paul, it's all on. I know we've got the semi-final against Dewsbury Moor in a couple of weeks' time, which might be a sort of a factor in the next few weeks. But if you can beat Dewsbury Moor, which we did do a couple of weeks ago, Steph Gray scores 2 tries in the last 5 minutes to win it. We could do that again and secure a final place. I mean, how much of a fantastic season would that be?
Oh, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? I don't think that anyone expected this really, but like you said, the ladies aren't. I mean, we say it every week. They're not just there making the numbers up and doing it as a bit of a kickabout on a Saturday or a Sunday. I think once you start a sport like that, I think you can tend to start. What's the word I'm looking for? You can become obsessed with it and start living it. And once you start living the life and doing something that you enjoy, you just want to get better and better. It becomes a way of life. I can sort of relate to a bit of that with a bit of the sport I do, and it doesn't take over your life, but you do think about it and want to get better, and you'll do a bit of extra training. You'll start eating well. You'll start doing extra training and this, that, and the other, and not going out boozing every weekend. And that's what you've got to be if you want to be successful at sport. And I mean, you can either go along and make the numbers up, or you can go and challenge. And for me, the results are the proof's in the pudding. There isn't. The results are there to prove it. These ladies are living their life and doing the business. And I think once you get that far now, they're not going to let this go now. They're not going to let this go. They're going to keep going now.
Well, that's the next step in it, because obviously Super League is the next step, and in the very sort of top division of Super League, there is sort of professional sort of players in that division, and we obviously aren't professional yet, so it's kind of like a situation where if you want to sort of play in the Super League, then sacrifices will have to be made if you want to reach that level, and I think these ladies have sort of totally know about that. They're switched on about what needs to be done to achieve that level, because I watched when we were playing Featherstone Lions, weren't we, in the cup a few weeks ago, and I didn't know it was Featherstone Lions at the time. I thought it was Featherstone Rovers at the time, and I watched Featherstone Rovers v Huddersfield Giants in the league championship sort of grand final, which is the kind of place where we'll get to eventually, hopefully. And I tell you, that game, it was so fast, so much sort of like physical contact. And I forget, we'd only played like 3 or 4, so maybe 2 or 3 games at that point. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? These are good. These are like very good. But then we obviously realised that we were playing Featherstone Lions, not Featherstone Rovers. But in the Super League, they will be playing Featherstone Rovers, so that's a hurdle they're going to have to jump 12, 18 months down the line.
That's what you've got to aim for. I think every team, whether it be men's or ladies or whatever, you think about that, and we talk about it all the time. I mean, I speak to people about, like, I've got friends who watch Rochdale, friends who watch Swinton, and they say, well, it's a massive leap from League One to the Championship to Super League. It is, but if you're a player playing in the Championship or playing in League One, your aim is to get to that Super League. I don't care what anybody says. If you play for Rochdale Hornets, you want to be in that Super League. And people might say, oh, Rochdale Hornets never get to the Super League. But that's what you've got to aim for. The sky's the limit. If you're a professional sports person, you want to be the best you can be, don't you? And challenge the best. Yeah, you might get absolutely minced. I mean, I think about my boxing. I'm at a pretty crap level, really. I'm just, not even an amateur, but I'd love to fight Tyson Fury, given the opportunity, because you want to test yourself. I'll probably get absolutely battered, but you must. There's always that burning desire, I think, in a sports person, sports lady, sportsman, to challenge yourself against the best. And the Salford ladies now, if they got the opportunity to get to Super League, you'd bite people's arm off for it, wouldn't you? I mean, I don't know how it'd work logistically. Would people have to give their jobs up? Would you have to go full time? I don't really know the ins and outs of things, but that's got to be the aim. If you're an 18-year-old now who's playing for Salford ladies, and you've got the opportunity to play Super League for them, you're going to work your socks off to get to that level, aren't you? If it means giving up your job and playing rugby league full time, yeah, I'd do that tomorrow. I mean, it's like that lad who's just gone on into Love Island. I was reading about that last week, and I thought, would I give up being a professional rugby league player to go in Love Island? No chance. I want to play professional rugby league and live the life of a rugby league player. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'll ask you that question, Mom. Would you give it up and go into Love Island?
Well, if Love Island were paying me 500,000, and I could go back and play rugby league after, then I might have 12 months, 18 months off. Because think about it, you make a load of money, and that secures your future. So then when you're sort of back end of 20, early 30s, you're not scratching around looking for teams to take you on when you've got a busted knee.
You want your cake and ate me there, don't you? I never said anything about going back to rugby league. I said about dropping out, but I don't know. The way I look at it, I think I'd rather score a winning try in a Challenge Cup final or a Grand Final and blooming Love Island. I don't know. That's a mentality of people these days, I suppose, isn't it?
That's why you're a world-class amateur boxer and I'm a fat podcaster.
I don't know about world class, mate.
Or fat. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, or fat. You're not fat at all.
Oh, thanks. So that's our look back at the ladies' game. And now we're going to talk about the reserves, Paul. And before we talk about their game against Leeds Rhinos, just need to make a correction. Ready? Yeah. Stuart Wilkinson is the head coach of Salford Red Devils reserves, not Danny Barton. I do apologise to both. And we can only go off what we can go off, can't we, Paul?
Yeah, I thought it was Danny Barton. I'm sure someone told me with Danny Barton. I know Danny Barton does an awful lot of work with the youngsters and the foundation sort of side of things at Salford, and has been involved with the young players for a number of years now. But no one ever told us anything different, did they? Really? And for us, it's difficult finding things out when people don't tell you stuff. So no, it's nice of us to know now. And I'd love, like you, I'd love to do a bit more reporting and speak to people with the reserves, but it's difficult sometimes, isn't it? With the time constraints on stuff. But if we can speak to Stuart or Danny, it'd be great. But yeah, apologies.
Yeah. So this week the reserves played Leeds Rhinos away and were victorious. They won 28 points to 22, Paul. They came back from 16 points down after 30 minutes of the first half to secure the win. Fantastic performance for Stuart Wilkinson's men, and chuffed to bits for them, because obviously they've had a few tough weeks against other teams, and to record their first victory away at Leeds Rhinos is a big thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, going to that game away at Leeds after a couple of defeats recently, that's quite a daunting task to go. Leeds are a giant of rugby league in this country, aren't they? And there's an awful lot of reputation that comes with that, particularly with their youth set up over the last sort of 25 years or so. Players that they brought through their system there, they're a champion club, aren't they? And the setup that they've got, the facilities, the stadium, they're one of the biggest names in the sport in this country. So for us to go there and be 16-0 down as well and turn that around, I think that's a marvellous achievement. And there's some good stories of some of the players who've done really well in that game as well, I've heard about. So yeah, I think that's a big hats off, a big plus for the side there, and a massive confidence boost as well going forward. And these lads have got to be looking at that first team at Salford, haven't they? They've got to keep working hard, and Paul Rowley's going to he'll be noticing this. Obviously, I don't know whether Paul went to the game, whether it clashed with our game, didn't it? So he wouldn't have done, but he'll be watching the replays of it, he'll be watching the video of it, and he'll be looking at players there. So you've got an opportunity to put yourself in that window, haven't you? If you play your socks off every week for the reserves, I don't know what the situation is with going into the first team, but you can't do any harm if you play well.
Yeah, I'll just quickly run through the side, Paul. Josh Rock at fullback, Nathan Taylor, Miles Dalton-Harper in the centre, Owen Blackford, Joe Brady was on the other wing, Jack Stevens, Toby Hughes, Daniel Spencer, Johnny Openshaw, Connor Tyrrell, Henry Davis, Matty Unsworth and Jordan Brown. On the bench was Callum Green, Lewis Hall, Alex Davidson and Jacob Lee. I watched the game. I thought they were very, played fantastically well. Owen Blackford scored the first try for Salford. Jack Stevens kind of like gave him a crash ball, and he used good feet and crashed over to score. And in the second half, we were fantastic. Hooker, Johnny Openshaw, was outstanding for me. He scored a try, sort of dived over from dummy half to sort of close the scores. And then the try from Toby Hughes was a fully sort of 80-metre effort with, Nathan Taylor involved, and sort of Toby Hughes kind of like went over from about 15 metres after sort of making a break. And they were tied up at that point, Paul, at I think it was 16 apiece. And Salford were the better side. The forwards were going forward, and it was really, really sort of impressive. And then sort of Jack Stevens worked a bit of magic, sent Nathan over in the corner for the score. And obviously at that point, Salford are in front, and I was jumping around my living room because I couldn't believe it.
Well, yeah, I mean, wins at Leeds don't often come along very often, do they, watching Salford? And yeah, just listen to what you said there. I mean, I've heard a lot this season about Openshaw, the hooker. I think he sounds an excellent prospect, really good player. And Jack Stevens, we know all about. You read about Jack and see the noises that he's making. People are impressed with him every time they see him play. We've seen, glimpses of him in the pre-season when he's played for the first team, and he's definitely one to watch. Definitely one for the future. You've just got to keep nurturing Jack, because he looks a real star. Every time I've seen him, he's got a fantastic sort of pair of hands on him. He's his distribution's really, really good, and he has that, that little touch of class that many halfbacks have got. So I think he's definitely one to watch. But there's some other good players in there. Alex Davison, as you mentioned as well. No, he's no young kid. He's been around a while now in around rugby league circles, but he's working hard as well. So it'd be great to see some of these players, stepping up into that first team if we can. I really do think it'd be great. That'd be like a massive achievement for the club, I think, to bring players through like a reserve grade and get them playing for the first team. It'd be a massive plus, considering we've not got an academy now and we weren't given, the licensing and things like that. I think it'd be a massive plus for the club for the hard work they've done.
Yeah, it's all about. Yeah, they've got size, Paul. That's for sure. Daniel Spencer-Tonks, Alex Davison, sort of go forwards for me. Jacob Lee, keep banging on about this kid. He's massive, but he's got a good set of hands as well. So I think he's going to be one to watch. And fantastic. Like I said, Nathan Taylor went over to score. Leeds hit back with about 10 minutes to go. And then with about 5 minutes to go, Openshaw worked his magic and dived over by the post, cueing unbelievable jumping around scenes from the Salford players on the field, because they knew how important that score was.
Great win, and it'll give them an awful lot of confidence now moving forward. Been a bit of adversity this season for them. They've had some defeats and one or two big defeats as well. But to go to Leeds, that's a massive shot in the arm for them now, and you've got to build on that now, build some momentum, build some confidence on that. They can do it. We know they can do it now, and let's see them blossoming and getting better and better.
Yeah, and our learning disability rugby league players, they played at Lee on Monday night when Lee played Featherstone. They played at half-time in a sort of exhibition match against Lee, which is great for them. I've seen the highlights on YouTube, and a great show of rugby and a great spectacle. Because I was last week, or the week before, I went to watch them in the Lee Festival, and it was a similar kind of thing. Both sides, playing the rugby league the right way.
Yeah, definitely, and they're getting around now, aren't they? And getting some experience, and not everybody can say they played at the Lee Sports Village. I think that's a real feather in your cap as well. And it sounded a good night there at Lee. I know the first team won; they beat Featherstone. It's a big plus for them. So yeah, I'm sure that was a great night. I saw some of the photographs from it. Looks like everyone's had a good time again, and they're really enjoying it this season. And I think it's brilliant. The more things we can have like that for them, the better. And every week, I think if they want to play every week, get them playing every week. They clocked up some miles this season as well, haven't they? Had a trip to Hull as well and did really well there. So yeah, it did
sport and other things. And this week he's talking about how he played at the league game. It's a great listen. It's called the Dads and Lads Pod. So after you finish listening to us, subscribe to them and have a listen. And he tells us how much he's enjoying playing rugby and playing for Salford and what it means to him. And his dad talks about what it was like watching, and it really was a fantastic listen.
Yeah, it sounds. I've not heard it myself yet, but I'll give that a listen. It does sound a good podcast. It's a heartwarming story, really, isn't it? That's what rugby league's all about. we know that going with our dads to the match, and I've never been a great player of rugby league. I've always been a watcher more than a player. But if you can play the sport, and represent Salford as well, how good is that? It really is amazing, and great to see them doing well, and great to see everybody with smiles on their faces as well. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, talking about teams that are kind of like in our sort of universe, Paul. We've got two. We've got the Copperheads who are in America, and we've got Ipswich Jets. We've got to sort of touch on both of these sides. The Copperheads played their first league game over their season and won 88-4. Fantastic result for the Copperheads. I saw the highlights on the YouTube, and there's some good players in that side. Obviously, Paul Rowley, Ian Blease, our scouting net will have a BDI what's going on there, but a very impressive win, 88-4.
Oh, it certainly is. Yeah, to score 88 points in an 80-minute match is a real achievement. So, no matter who you're playing against, only so many points you can score in a game, isn't there? So, yeah, great win for them there. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be some real athletes who are playing for them. And, it's probably a learning curve. I bet a lot of them have not played rugby league for a long time. We're a newish sport in that sort of neck of the woods, isn't it? But yeah, I'm sure the club are monitoring the situation. If we can get some big players from over there, that would be a massive plus for us. So it's great to have a partnership with them. Yeah.
The other partnership we've got is with Ipswich Jets in Australia. They played Tweed Heads and lost 40 points to 30 at home. Plenty of tries in that game, Paul. They are struggling in the Queensland Cup at the moment, but hopefully they'll turn it around.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult division, that Queensland Cup. There's some good sides in there. Mackay Cuts, I think, are in there, aren't they, as well? And one or two other Burley Bears, I think they're in that league. So that's a difficult league to play in. Some tough teams, some ex sort of pros who play in the NRL in there as well. So yeah, difficult at the moment, but I'm sure they'll turn things round. And 40-34 defences had a bit of a day off, didn't they, by the sounds of it in that game? But yeah, you just got to keep going and try and get better and try and improve.
Yep. So that's a look back at all the games regarding our clubs and in the universe of Salford Red Devils. And now we'll look at all the big news coming out of the club this week. So we'll start, Paul, with the big Summer 6 ticket. Exciting times for the club. You can purchase one ticket for the Wakefield game, the Catalan game, the St Helens game, the Huddersfield game, the Hull game and the Warrington game from £105 if you're an adult or from £5 if you're a child. Great value, and I'm hoping, obviously, us fans, tell our friends, tell our families, and it'll help grow our support in the last few games of the season.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant value. That if you've not already got a season ticket, I think it's great value. And when you think about it, I've seen a lot of people recently on Twitter who've sort of been going to the matches as new supporters. There's been one or two people, I don't always know who they are, but you just see people commenting and people, I don't always know how it works, Twitter, but you see them tagging something and just reading, oh, such a body's been there. I don't know them, but they've been with a child from school or whatever, and then they've decided to start going or whatever. So you might get one or two adults doing that, and I think that's great if they've got a season ticket there, they've been to a match now, and you think, oh, well, I'll go to the next 6 now for the rest of the season. I think it's a great idea, that, and a great initiative, and that's how to sort of swell the crowd. I mean, if you go back to last week, and I mean, the crowd against Wigan, there's almost 6,000 there. I mean, people might scoff at that, and I think some Wigan supporters were sort of laughing about it. But for us, I thought that was a really good crowd and really positive step in the right direction. Someone said, oh, Wigan brought about 1,500. There's no way they brought 1,500. They might have brought about 800, but there wasn't 1,000 Wigan fans there. So there's over 5,000 Salford supporters is a really good move in the right direction, and that's what we want. That's what it's all about this season, is building the crowds. That's what we've been trying to do, haven't we? So yeah, I think it's great, and this initiative could really work.
Yeah, hopefully, obviously, the club will have sort of organised capturing data and things like that, because they've had that before with the schools thing, and I'm sure if they do get a swell of people coming in, they'll be able to sort of record it all and then sort of hearten with offers to come back again sort of next season after they've watched the last 6 games.
Well, yeah, I think that's what's been happening, hasn't it? I think they've been doing that with the schools. It's been great to see the schools coming, and how good was the atmosphere on Friday night against Wigan? All right, we lost the game, but it was another great atmosphere. It's great to see when you've got one stand closed like the East Stand, it doesn't always add to the atmosphere, does it? You've got one empty end there, but I think when you've got 4 ends, sort of not jam-packed, but, plenty of people in there, it just adds that atmosphere around the ground. And, you know, the kids when they've been have loved it. The players have stayed around for hours on end. We know that because we're waiting for them for the interviews, and they're out there signing autographs for kids, aren't they, all night? But I think it's great. I think it's brilliant what they've been doing, and there's been a real buzz, and I think the players have loved it as well. So yeah, I hope. I think there's another one you're going to mention now, aren't you? Against Catalan. I think there's another. I won't steal your thunder. I'll let you mention that, and let's hope we get more kids and more schools coming to that as well.
Yeah, like you said, the Catalan game is the next Frame of the Future event. Obviously, very successful in the last two. So hopefully it'll follow on. We'll get more schools, bigger crowds. Happy days.
Yeah, and just to mention to the armed forces as well, it was great to see all them there at the Wigan game, and the big gun outside and bits and pieces. I was having a good look around before I went in, and I think that was another great initiative, and people enjoyed that as well, didn't they? So yeah, hats off to the club. I'm sure Paul King and everybody at the club have got more things, lined up between now and the end of the season. And like I said, these future games, what they call Frame for the Future, Look to the Future, or whatever they call. I think these are great. I think the more of these, if you could have one of these every home game, I mean, I'm sure that's probably what the aim is. But great to see school kids going, and there's a lot of schools in the area, and I think there's been a lot of schools coming from outside the area as well, outside the bubble, as you say. So yeah, I think it's been great.
Yeah, the next home game, Wakefield game, is a real event, Paul. In the morning, well, from 12:30 onwards, the LDRL team, there is like a festival going on where Salford, Lee, Wigan and Wakefield will all kind of play off against each other. Then you've got the Salford match against Wakefield, and then after the match you've got the Academy War of the Roses where Lancashire take on Yorkshire. So it's a real sort of full day of rugby league for everyone.
The Wakefield game, yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to hang about because my daughter's making a Holy Communion that day. So we're going to church in the morning, then I'm dashing to the match, and then we're going out for something to eat after the match. So I won't be able to hang about that day. So blooming Catholic Church putting it on a Salford game, but no, I think that'd be a great day. That'd be a really great day, and great to see, everything happening around the stadium. Like you said, a real festival of rugby league that day, and let's hope it's going to be a big crowd, because you think about the first team on the pitch, Wakefield have had a couple of wins. They're level with us on points now, I think, aren't they? So that's a massive game at the bottom of the table, and you've got everybody else in the War of the Roses game. Everybody loves that, don't they? Lancashire against Yorkshire. I'm a bit gutted I can't stay to watch that, but no, a bit of good weather as well. I'm sure it'll be a cracking day, that.
Let's hope God answers your prayers, Paul, and there's nice weather and a win for Salford Red Devils.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. I'm a bit nervous about that one, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Other news, Rhys Williams has been selected as captain for the Welsh team who play France this weekend. 31 appearances, 22 tries for Wales, Rhys Williams. Obviously, really good player. Doesn't really get sort of the opportunity itself, because obviously you've got Joe Burgess and Ken Seal in his position. But he is a class act when he gets his opportunity.
Well, when he has played for Salford, he's never let us down, has he?
No.
Last season was really good. Season before was really good, and he scored an awful lot of tries for London Broncos when he played for them. So he's had a good try record wherever he's been. So I'm not sort of surprised to see him in that Welsh side. He's a top winger, and I think he'd probably slot into any side of the Super League. Really, is a real useful player. But at the moment we've got Ken Seal and Joe Burgess there, who are two top wingers, aren't they? And I think two international wingers, and so is Rhys Williams. So it's just a shame at the moment. Sometimes you get that in squads, don't you, where you've got sort of 3-4 players, but they don't all fit into the team, and somebody has to miss out, don't they? So I'm sure Rhys will get his chance at Salford again before the end of the season. I'm not saying I hope Ken Seal or Joe Burgess get injured or anything, but things happen, don't they? And I'm sure he'll get another chance. But no, great to see him playing for Wales again. And like you said, his record for Wales is really good.
Yeah. Talk about the other international going on. England v the All-Stars. Callum Watkins is in the England squad. Brodie Croft and Seal are in the All-Star squad. Tim Laffey misses out due to suspension, but shows how far we've come, Paul. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in playing international rugby league. It's quite an amazing thing for Salford Red Devils.
And all well deserved as well. It's just a shame with Laffey. I'm not so sure what he got suspended for. I'm sure it was something in the Wigan game. I've not actually read into it and see what it was, but no, he's unlucky to miss out. But yeah, Brodie Croft, I think, deserves his spot. He's been great for us this season, got better as the season's gone on. Callum Watkins, we've mentioned it numerous occasions recently. Since he's come back from injury, and he's been a revelation in the pack. If he does play at the weekend, it'd be interesting to see where he does play. Will he be back in his favoured centre position, or will he play in the pack for England? I'm not too sure. But no, like you said, it's positive stuff for the club, and it just shows you that, you know, people are looking at the situation at Salford and looking at the players, and they respect Coach Paul Rowley, Kurt Haggerty, and Danny Orr and the work they're doing. So yeah, we're not getting left behind, which is good to see.
Yeah, Morgan Astray for France as well. We've playing against Wales, so yeah, we've got, you know, representation, Paul, and that's the important thing when you're trying to attract players to come to your club sort of next year or whatever, a few years down the line, that, you know, you can come to Salford and you can still play international rugby league, which is always a kind of thing in the past. I thought I'm not going to Salford, I might not get my opportunity, but you get your opportunity now.
Yeah, and let's hope so. I mean, I'm hoping that's going to happen in the World Cup as well. There's one or two players who've been picked for England who I sort of raised an eyebrow when I saw the squad, thinking, God, I don't think they're playing that well this season for the club team, but yet they've been picked. So I hope that doesn't happen for the World Cup. I hope there's not all that reputation. I hope they do pick players on form, and I'm sure they will do. I'm sure they will do when the season comes. At the moment now, it's difficult, isn't it, in the middle of a season? I don't know whether certain coaches aren't letting players go. There's been talk of that, hasn't there? One or two players, we won't name names, but I'm not sure how all that works. But yeah, let's hope that the World Cup players get picked on reputation, and that means there's a chance for everybody. If you're playing well for your club side, you've got that opportunity, because that's not always been the case, but hopefully this time it will be.
Yeah. Moving on, Paul, there's another business network event happening on the 13th of July at the AJ Bell Stadium, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Opportunity for business network and hopefully strike deals and involve the club as well. It'd be great, obviously, a hub of community and a hub of business. That's the aim.
Yeah, certainly, and we say that all the time, don't we? Community does an awful lot, doesn't it? With businesses and sponsors and things like that, and it's just good to see them, you know, in and around Salford, in and around the club, and you know, we're going to get banded about. Our name will get banded about. We've got a presence there, haven't we, which is good. People know about us, and I think that's a good thing in business.
You can pre-order your special season ticket named T-shirts from up to the 20th of June. Paul, kind of like it's red, half black, with all the names of the season ticket holders who replied to the club. So that's great. Obviously, another bit of merch for Parker to plead to get their listeners to buy him.
Yeah, they won't be needing any more woolly hats in this weather, will they? So a T-shirt might be about right. But that sounds good. It sounds good, and I must say, been very, very impressed with the merchandise this season. You know, from the kit suppliers that we've got now, who I can't remember what they're called, but they're very good. They're very good. The shirts are good. You know, the Ghana shirt they brought out was really good. I saw like it. Am I right? Or have I been missing something? Have we got like an Armed Forces one?
VX3, and they have got an
VX3.
Armed Forces T-shirt.
Well, I saw a couple of them, and I thought, I've been imagining it, but I saw some people wearing them on Friday night. They look really, really smart. So VX3 have done a great job this season for us with the kits and everything. I think they look really, really good.
Yeah. Bit more news, Paul. Multi-sport camps are being run again by the Salford Red Devils Foundation. They're only available for kids who are on free school meals. They're from the 25th of July to the 28th of July, 1st of August to the 4th of August, 8th of August, 11th of August, and the 15th of August, the 18th of August. Great opportunity for, obviously, you know, kids through them summer months to be active and have fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounds good. That, I mean, you do need that, don't you? In the summer holidays, sometimes you need to keep yourself active, and the parents probably need a bit of help as well, don't they, with childcare and things like that. So if you can keep your kid active and out there doing something, keeps them off the streets and keeps them busy.
Yeah. Other news, Paul. There's another coaching education program being run by Paul Rowley and Kurt Haggerty on the 30th of June. It's at the AJ Bell. It's 7:30 till 8:30. It's for coaches from, you know, under 13s to, you know, open age coaches, let's say. So it's a great opportunity for the coaches in our area to pick the brains of the Salford Devils coaching staff.
Yeah, sounds great. That sounds really good. That, and you think about the knowledge that, Paul Rowley, Kurt Haggerty have got, and are gaining as they go along. I mean, Kurt's not very old really, is he? But he's quite experienced. He's been around for a bit now, coaching in Super League with Lee and working at Salford and working in the amateur game as well. So yeah, you're going to pick up loads of knowledge there. You've only got to listen to Paul Rowley and his press conferences, the stuff he comes out with. He knows the game inside out. So anything you can go there and soak up as a young junior coach or amateur coach or whatever sort of age group, I think is great.
Yeah. So that's all the big news coming out of the club this week, Paul. And now we'll look what's going on in the world of rugby league with Whiteside's World of Rugby League.
Right, here is this week's Devil in the Detail amateur report, life outside Super League, life in Super League, Rugby League roundup as we call it. So we'll start off with the North West Men's League. In the Division 1 at the weekend just gone, it was Askham 28, Bury Broncos 32, Folly Lane 10, Ulverston 17. Division 2, West Orton Lions beat Wigan Springview by 39 points to 20. In Division 4 South and East, Burton Wood Chargers 38, Waterhead Warriors A 22, Langworthy Reds 22, Burton Wood Bridge 32. The fixtures for this weekend coming up, these are all going to be played on Saturday the 18th of June. In Division 1 it's Ulverston at home to Bury Broncos, Folly Lane entertain Hindley. Division 2 Carrishead Rhinos face Walney Central. Hindpool Tigers at home to Salford City Roosters. West Horton Lions face Roost Pioneers. In Division 3, Rochdale Mayfield A are at home to Woolston Rovers A. And there's one fixture involving our local sides. In Division 4 South and East, it's Langworthy Reds against Oldham St Anne's A. Well, moving on now and turning our attention to the National Conference Leagues. Rochdale Mayfield had a great win at weekend. They beat Lee Minor Rangers by 38 points to 24. That was in the Premier Division. In Division 3, Division 1. Go back to Division 1. Hull Dockers beat Saddleworth Rangers by 40 points to 12. In Division 3, Batley Boys 6, Oldham St Anne's 14. Great win there for Oldham St Anne's. And Waterhead Warriors, they had an absolute hammering. They beat Drillington by 88 points to 6. So that leaves the league table. Premier Division, Rochdale Mayfield, they're mid-table now. They've won 6 games from their 13 matches respectively. In Division 3, East Leeds are top with 12 wins from 13. Waterhead Warriors are second on 18 points with 9 wins. And Oldham St Anne's are third with 8 wins from their 13 games on 16 points. The fixtures for this week coming up Saturday the 18th of June. In the Premier Division, it's Thornhill Trojans against Rochdale Mayfield. In Division 1, Saddleworth Rangers at home to Stanningley. And in Division 3, Waterhead Warriors away at Hensingham and Oldham St Anne's at home to the Shaw Cross Sharks. Right now, time for the North West Youth League. There's not a lot to go out in these leagues, but I'll give you the fixtures and results we have got from the weekend just gone on Sunday. In Division 1 of the Under-18s, Crossfields 32, Saddleworth Rangers 12. In the Under-16s, it was Division 2, it was Saddleworth 68. Thatto Heath Crusaders 6. Division 3 of the Under-16s, Pilkington Rex 10, Salford City Roosters 28. So good win there for the Roosters. The fixtures this weekend, Sunday the 19th of June in the Under-18s, Northwest Youth Cup, Hindley are at home to Waterhead Warriors. In the Northwest Youth Plate Under-18s, it's Blackbrook Royals against Salford City Roosters. Portico Vine are at home to Saddleworth Rangers. In the Under-16s, Lancashire Cup, Lee Minor Rangers are at home to Saddleworth Rangers. In the Northwest Youth Cup Under-16s, it's Halton Farm with Hornets Greens versus Folly Lane. South Trafford Raiders against Hindpool. Waterhead Warriors are at home to Wigan St Jude's. Wigan St Cuthberts are at home to Wigan St Patrick's. In the Northwest Plate, it's Hindley against Rochdale Mayfield. Well, turning our attention to Women's Rugby League now, Rob will be telling you all about the Salford Ladies' great victory in the main podcast. I'll give you the rest of the stuff that's rounding about. There was an international between Wales and England on Sunday at Pandy Park. Wales 6, England 32. In the Women's Super League Group 2 at the weekend, Bradford Bulls 52, Castleford Tigers 0, Featherstone 54, Wakefield Trinity 10, Lee Minor Rangers 8, Barrow Raiders 14. In the forthcoming fixtures in the Betfred Super League Group 1, it's St Helens against Leeds. That one's on Sky this Thursday at 5:30. On Sunday the 26th of June, it's on Sky on the 23rd of June. That's a week on Thursday, I'm sorry about that. Sunday the 26th of June, it's Wigan against York City Knights. And also on Sunday the 26th of June, Barrow Raiders ladies plays Castleford Tigers. Bradford against Barrow ladies. They're playing twice there, Barrow ladies, by the sounds of that. I'm not too sure. We'll have to confirm that. Warrington against Lee Minor Rangers. And in the Betfred Super League South, it's Bedford Tigers against Oxford Cavaliers and Golden Ferns against the Cardiff Demons. There was also another international at the weekend just gone. This one was played in Italy, and it was Italy 6, Ireland 30. I think what we'll do now is we'll travel the other side of the world and have a look at what's been going on in Australia. Last week, Wednesday, it was the State of Origin, the first State of Origin this season, Game 1. New South Wales 10, Queensland 16. 80,512 supporters were there to watch that at the Acor Stadium on Wednesday. Fantastic match. It really was, between two sides who went hammer and tong with each other. 6-4 to the Maroons at half-time. They eventually won it by 16 points to 10. So, great game there. Can't wait for Game 2 coming up in a few weeks. Well, moving on to the NRL, it was West Tigers 4, Manly Seagulls 30. These are all round 14 matches. North Queensland Cowboys 31, St George Illawarra 12, Gold Coast Titans 16, South Sydney Rabbitohs 30, Sydney Roosters 18, Melbourne Storm 26. Brisbane Broncos continue their good form. They beat the Canberra Raiders by 24 points to 16. Newcastle Knights 6, Penrith Panthers 42, and New Zealand Warriors 16, Cronulla Sharks 38. The fixtures for this week: there was a Monday fixture between Canterbury and Parramatta, but by the time you've heard this, that game's probably been played. Thursday this week, it's St George Illawarra against South Sydney Rabbitohs. Manly Seagulls and North Queensland Cowboys, and Melbourne Storm and Brisbane Broncos are the Friday matches. On Saturday, it's Cronulla Sharks against Gold Coast Titans, New Zealand Warriors against Penrith Panthers, and Parramatta Eels against Sydney Roosters. 2 games on Sunday, that's Canberra Raiders against Newcastle Knights and Canterbury Bulldogs against the West Tigers. So at the moment, Penrith Panthers stay top. They've won 13 from 14. Melbourne are second with 10 wins from 13, 4 points behind the Panthers, and it's North Queensland Cowboys, Brisbane Broncos, Cronulla Sharks, Parramatta Eels, South Sydney Rabbitohs and Sydney Roosters. At the moment, Canterbury Bulldogs are rooted to the bottom of the table with just 2 wins from their 13 matches so far. Right, well, we'll finish off this week heading closer to home, back at the domestic scene that's been going on. Super League round 15, Catalan Dragons 36, Hull FC 8. That was a Saturday game. Huddersfield Giants beat Leeds Rhinos 30 points to 16 on Friday night. Salford Red Devils 12, Wigan 30 was also a Friday night game. On Sunday, St Helens 26, Hull Kingston Rovers 18, Toulouse Olympic 14, Castleford Tigers 20, Wakefield Trinity 30, Warrington Wolves 24. In the Betfred Championship round 15, Batley Bulldogs had a great win. Again, they beat Newcastle Thunder by 58 points to 18. Dewsbury Rams 18, London Broncos 26, Sheffield Eagles 10, Bradford Bulls 30, Whitehaven 12, Halifax Panthers 24. Another try for Daniel Murray. He's been scoring plenty of tries recently for Halifax Panthers. Widnes Vikings 14, York City Knights 16, Workington Town 0, Barrow Raiders 58. The round 14 game last Monday was Featherstone Rovers 58, Bradford Bulls 12. In Betfred League 1, Cornwall 12, Keighley Cougars 56, Hunslet 30, West Wales Raiders 22, Oldham 66, Midlands Hurricanes 0, Swinton Lions 34, Rochdale Hornets 14, and West Wales Raiders 16, London Scholars 38. So the fixtures for this week, there was a Monday game between Lee and Featherstone. You probably know that score by now. There's no domestic fixtures, with it being the international games. The internationals, there's some on Saturday, there's some on Sunday. England women play France women at 3:15 on Saturday at the Halliwell Jones, followed by England against the Combined Nations All-Stars. That's at 5:45. On Sunday, the 19th of June, France play Wales at 2:30. That's at Albi. Wales women face Italy women at Pandy Park, Cross Keys at 1 o'clock, and the England wheelchair play France wheelchair at the Manchester Basketball Centre at 3:30 on Sunday. Sounds fantastic stuff this week. So no domestic games, I would say, but some great international fixtures there. So Super League, St Helens are top with 26 points. Catalan Dragons follow in second place on 22 points. Wigan are third with 22 points. Then it's Huddersfield Giants with 21, Hull FC 16, and Castleford make up the top 6 on 14. Followed by Hull KI, have got 14, Leeds Rhinos have got 11 points. Then it's Warrington with 10, Salford with 10, Wakefield with 10, and Toulouse Olympic with 4. In the Betfred Championship, I'll just give you the playoffs. Featherstone Rovers are top with 27 points. Leeds Centurions 26, York City Knights 24, Batley Bulldogs 21, Halifax Panthers 20, and Barrow Raiders doing really well this season. They've got 19 points. In the Betfred League 1, big shout out to Keighley Cougars. They've played 10, won 10. They're top, 4 points clear of Swinton Lions and North Wales Crusaders, followed by Rochdale Hornets, Doncaster and Hunslet. That's all I've got for you this week. Take care. I shall see you a week on Sunday for Salford against Wakefield.
So that was Whiteside's World Rugby League, and now we'll have a look at all the games happening this weekend for Salford Red Devils. So we'll start with a PDRL team. They're in Alton at a festival, Paul. They've got 6 Welsh internationals lining up for Salford Red Devils. They play Warrington, Wigan and Wakefield. So for me, you know, we've got to have a good chance of performing in this.
Sounds tough, doesn't it? Warrington, Wigan and Wakefield, though.
6 internationals.
Yeah. I think we've got a good chance there. Got a good chance. Weather's going to be good. It's going to be a nice warm weekend, I think, by the looks of it. There'll be plenty of water down them, and yeah, I've got a good chance there of coming up with some good results.
Yeah. Connor Rice, Ben Lewis, Tyram Hughes, Morgan Jones, Rob Carpenter, and Matt Rowley are the 6 Welsh internationals who were putting on that Salford shirt. So good luck to the lads in Alton. And hopefully you'll have a good time and pull off some good wins and some good rugby. Also playing this weekend are our ladies. They're away at Hull. Paul, after last week's victory, hopefully another victory to keep our momentum going.
Tough place to go, isn't it? We've said that before. No matter whether it's ladies, men's, or whatever, it's a tough place to go. But yeah, they were looking to follow on that momentum now from last week, and they beat Hull, I think, in the cup. Did it? Wilkinson and Bates were playing this weekend, or is it just Hull?
Hull.
Just Hull. Yeah, it'll be another tough game, though. There's no doubt about that. But I'm sure the ladies will be able to get the result.
Yeah, look, obviously looking at Hull, they are bottom of the league. They've lost 5. They've played 5, lost 5. But looking at the sort of the fixtures, the results. They lost Narra to Alton, who we lost to 16-10, and they lost Narra to Widnes 14-10. They've had 3 blowout scorelines since then. So it's kind of like, for me, it's a bit dangerous. It reminds me of sort of us, sort of early 2000s, where we're on a bit of a rut. And if we go into games, and if we scored early, we'd be like, we're going to win this. But then obviously we might drop off. So, losing 5 from 5, they'll be probably playing with that little bit of freedom, thinking, well, we've got nothing to lose here, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is when expectations on you, and sometimes you're like a wounded animal, aren't you? When you're on that sort of a losing run, and you can play with a bit more freedom because no one expects you to sort of get a result anyway, and you can be dangerous. So yeah, ladies have just got to take it professionally. I think that's all you can do. We say it all the time about taking each game as it comes and respecting your opponent, and they've just got to go there and do the business. I always say it, and people laugh at me, but when you talk about the first team, you get the same 2 points for beating top of the table as you get for beating bottom of the table, don't you? So I mean, that's what I always use. That I mean, a win's a win. So yeah, just go over there, do the business, give them the respect they deserve, and do a thoroughly professional job, and come back down the M62 with 2 points.
Yeah, Demi Jones limped off injured last week, but I've been informed that it's a dead leg, but it was a bad dead leg. So hopefully she'll be fit, because she's a key part of this side. Her and Louise Fellingham pulling the strings, making the magic happen for your backs and your forwards.
Dead leg sounds painful, though, doesn't it? I'm sure, though, if you've rested that this week, keep it mobile and keep it active, it should be all right. But no, that does sound painful. That it really does. So going through the wars there, but I'm sure it should be all right for Sunday. Yeah.
So give us your score prediction, Paul. Obviously, the men aren't in action, so the pressure is on the ladies the pressure's on us to figure out what the score is going to be.
I'm going to say Hull 10.
Salford
10. Ladies 28.
28. There's a story behind that.
I think Louise Fellingham will get a brace.
Brace from Fellingham. Okay. I'm thinking, we've got strike power all over this team, and obviously Hull are in really sort of bad position. Played 5, lost 5, and like I said before, if we score early and squeeze them, then I think we'll come away with a big win, like we did against Hull Kingston Rovers. So I'm going to go for Hull FC 6, Salford Red Devils 48, and I'm going to go for Alex Simpson hat-trick. That's my prediction. Hopefully, it won't be like the Chris Inu incident, where we're hoping for a miss kick or a kick to get our Nando's.
I don't think we've come very close to it since then. Really, we seem to be miles away every week, don't we? So I was going to say, should we do a prediction for England against the Combined Nations? But to be honest with you, I haven't got a clue how that game's going to go. I've got no idea. So I'll let you go first.
Okay. England v the Combined Nations. I think it's going to be a real tough game. I think after last, did the Combined Nations win last season?
I can't remember, mate, to be honest with you.
Okay, so I'm thinking, because obviously England need a tough sort of workout, don't they? And I'm thinking we'll probably get one. I'm going to go for England to win 26-24 and Callum Watkins to play in the second row and score.
Okay.
What about you?
I'll have to back England. I think it'll be close. I was going to back the Combined Nations, but I'm going to back England because I should do, because I'm English. I'll say England 20, Combined Nations 14.
20, 14.
Does this count towards an Nando's?
Well, are we having a double rollover? It means if we both get them both right, we have to go for 2.
Well, if we get either of them right, it counts. We've got. It gives us a double chance this week, doesn't it? Rather than betting on the Salford game.
That's a good idea. We'll do that then. Yeah,
but
sounds
don't
like
forget
a plan.
Parky's
Just
not
keep
here,
rolling
is
the
he?
dice till we get a 6, Paul. It's not difficult, is it?
Well, Parky's not here, is he? So we deserve 2 chances, don't we?
We do.
Because we'd have someone else here, wouldn't we? So yeah, we'll probably be miles away anyway.
Oh, well, but I say, we're all behind England. But if Brodie Croft or Kenzie will go over a try, might do a bit of a fist bump in the air. Maybe.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we're just hoping for a good game, aren't we? Really? Of course, you want England to win, but yeah, the main thing is we want the Salford players. I mean, a bit of a selfish point of view, we want them to come through without an injury, really, because what you don't want is someone to get thumped or something. So we just hope they all come through the game unscathed and enjoy it and learn from the experience, and England win.
Yeah, I don't think Paul Rowley will be stood in the stands just looking at like, Sean Wayne, just looking at him, get him off now. Get Watkins off now. After 20 minutes.
I think it'll do the confidence a lot of good, doing that. Callum Watkins back in the England fold as well. He's playing really well. It'll probably spur him on even more, because if you have a good game on Saturday and Sean Wayne says to you, played really well there, keep it up for your club, you're going to take that back into your club form, aren't you? So World Cup's going to be massive at the end of the year, isn't it? I can't wait for that. So any player playing now, you want to be involved in that, don't you? World Cup's going to be really special. So you think it'd spur you on to do your best you can.
Do you ever watch Family Guy, the pointing monkey? Paul Rowley be like that, pointing him, get him off.
You don't want to stress Paul Rowley out.
Yeah, that's a lot. I tell you what, you get the big white eyes. Your nose is in trouble.
He's not the biggest, but we're not going to argue with him, are we?
No. When he says, get him off, you get him off.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the end of this week's podcast. Another great show, Paul. Lots covered. Great chat. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoyed it, mate. Yeah, looking forward to next week. Against Wakefield, but I'll enjoy the international games this weekend. And good luck to the ladies, and good luck to our learning disabilities team as well, and their festival that they've got. So let's hope our sides come back with victories.
Yeah, and before we go, I want to say a massive thanks to the people who have donated coffees to us for our Ko-fi account. Curly Red and Arthur Bollard this week have donated to keep us sort of broadcasting. It's an amazing thing that people are willing to put their hands in their pockets to help us produce fantastic podcasts. Obviously, it's not free to create. But with our listeners sort of helping us, this way, it means the world, doesn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it certainly does. Thanks to Curly, and thanks to Arthur as well. Hope you're enjoying the show, and see you soon.
Yeah. So obviously, if you do want to sort of donate a coffee to us, follow the link on our social media, and a coffee. It makes all the difference to us. So big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITD SRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you soon.